Hello and thanks for stopping by. This is Star Fox for the Atari 2600, and I'm playing this game from a cartridge on a Retron 77. Now, this is Star Fox for the Atari 2600, not Star Fox. I think it's important to not get these two confused, mostly because Star Fox for the Atari 2600 was released by Mythicon in 1983, and Star Fox was certainly not. This is what I can say for this game. Well, it has a damn fine-looking cartridge. Take a look at this. This is 80s science fiction imagery at its peak. And the company name, Mythicon, I think that's a decent developer name, at least for a company in the 80s, I guess. Now Star Fox, this Star Fox, is a side-scroller, somewhat like the classic game Defender, and certainly not like the other Star Fox, where you fly around in a 3D environment. The purpose of this game, which you learn only by reading the manual, is that a friendly freighter has been downed on a planet and you are tasked with retrieving its cargo, energy crystals. Along the way, you destroy any enemy drones that you encounter. It has basic controls, and according to the manual, a ball controller should work well with this game. I don't have one of those controllers yet, but if I come across one, I'm sure I'll give it a go. In this one you fly left to right, up and down, as you would expect, and at the bottom of the screen there is this small band of orangish atmosphere. If you enter this area with your ship, you're going to land and you will stop moving. This is what you do to pick up crystals when you find them. If a drone shows up while you're on the ground, make sure to take off immediately or they're going to bomb you. Now this can be a one-player game or a two-player game, and there are a few different game modes. First you have practice mode and there's no scoring. It's just you racing around shooting stuff. Then you have the first level where you will score points for defeating drones and recovering crystals. In this mode you can ram drones and destroy them with your ship. Then you can play this first level with two players alternating. There's also a second level where you can score for defeating drones and recovering crystals, but if you ram the drones with your ship will explode and you lose life. You can also play this second level with two players alternating. Now the environment in this game, it's a blue sky, there's a gray flying atmosphere, and then there's an orange lower atmosphere. It's plain, sure, but remember, this is 1983, and this is Star Fox for the Atari 2600. Not Star Fox. So the colors here are certainly going to be limited, but overall I have to say I have no complaints. They're different enough for me to at least know where the playing field is, and that's kind of all you can hope for a 2600 game. Now, the gameplay feels and it handles like Defender. When you switch directions, the screen is going to shift a little bit and you sort of have to reorient yourself. And if you have to move back and forth quickly, it can become visually confusing. You move in a direction only as long as you're holding onto the joystick in that direction. When you let go of the controller, your ship is going to come to a stop. If you happen to be right over a crystal, you can pull down and you can land. And when you land, you'll pick up a crystal. That's if you're right on top of the crystal. You need to be directly over a crystal. If you miss it even by a little bit, you're going to have to take off again and try to land better. This means you're going to likely have to pass the crystal and reapproach it again. Back and forth. You're going to make jumps and you're going to find yourself at times jumping completely over crystals. To call this particular mechanic clunky, I think that's undercutting how frustrating it can actually be. But it is what it is. Your ship is actually a little better designed than I expected in terms of the way it looks. I think when we look at Atari 2600 games, there were a ton of different ships available. The ones that stand out. Defender, it gives us this ship racing around back and forth. It definitely had less detail here. It was pretty much just a white shape. And then, of course, there's the ship in Asteroids, and that was just a triangle. So, to have any sort of a ship in a game that's designed with what appears to be a cockpit, and also a rear engine section, I don't know, that seems pretty good for an Atari design, I think. Granted, this is a Star Fox design, not a Star Fox design, so you have to temper your expectations. You do also change shape when you land, and landing gear will appear basically, and when you fire, your ship is going to have this little motion as well, so it looks like you're actually firing. It's something, at least. Now, you are flying around looking for crystals that are on the ground. When you're flying around, there are going to be these little glowing specks. If you're cruising in a direction and you can't find them, you need to turn around and go in the other direction. Honestly, you're going to need to do this because the game needs to reset itself. This means, if you're traveling, say, to the left, and you don't see a crystal within 4 or 5 seconds, you should turn around. Because if you don't, you might never see one. It's not like they spawn in front of you. That's not what the trigger appears to be. So if you don't see a crystal, you should turn around and fly in the other direction. You might even see one right away. You go back in the other direction, at that point, you might see another one. But seriously, it's odd to know that you can travel in one direction probably forever and never see a crystal, but as soon as you turn around and backtrack, there it is. Very strange. There are all these little background decorations on the horizon as well, and I can't properly explain them. There appears to be a building. There appears to be what looks like an oil well. There's a water pump, and there's one of those classic Japanese sort of castle-shaped buildings. I'm not sure exactly what they're called. Probably just castles. But I don't know why they're in this game. I think these little decorations are far more distracting than they should be, because you can't interact with them. I think almost anything else would have sufficed. Mountains probably would have been the easiest choice. I think the sounds of this game are probably where it excels a little bit. Seriously, listen to this offensive fire. How great is that? Seriously, how can you not appreciate that effect? It's straight to the point gunfire. That's all you're ever going to want, right? That's all anyone could ever ask for. Okay, maybe not. But this was 1983. The music, though, that's something else. Why bother with Star Fox music when you can have 2600 Star Fox music? Nice. At least we have this killer label image, right? Well, that's all I have today for Star Fox for the Atari 2600. Thanks for stopping by to take a look, and I'll catch you on another video. You think they're going to try to claim this game music for copyright on YouTube?